The Prime Minister Scott Morrison is demanding the Chinese government delete what he's described as a repugnant tweet attacking the Australian Defence Force in the wake of that landmark war crimes inquiry. Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jejets joins me now. Stephen, take me through what's happened here.
Well, PK, of course, this goes back to the Brereton report that was released earlier this month, and it found that there had been some 39 unlawful killings by Australian Defence Force personnel in Afghanistan. Now, the initial international reaction was a little bit muted, but in the last few days, we've seen some countries which are not particularly friendly to Australia, in particular Russia and China, really taking the opportunity to try and attack Australia. So we had Russia over the weekend saying that it made Australia's claims of respecting human rights ring very hollow. On Friday, we had China's Foreign Affairs Ministry also attacking Australia over the Brereton report. And then today, really radically ramping up that attack, posting what you've described, a really genuinely shocking image, a fake image, which shows essentially an image of an Australian digger holding a bloodied knife to the throat of a small child with an Afghanistan flag underneath. So that seems to be a very clear reference to the allegations which have been made of war crimes. Now, the sheer sort of breathtaking, lurid nature of this image is really what's caught attention here. It's one thing for countries to criticise Australia over the conduct of Australian soldiers, but concocting an image like that and putting such an inflammatory image out on the internet from effectively a spokesman from the Chinese government is a real shock indeed. And unsurprisingly, it stirred real anger here in Australia. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, calling the image repugnant, as you mentioned, saying that it diminishes China and demanding that it be taken down. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
It is utterly outrageous, and it cannot be justified on any basis whatsoever. The Chinese government should be totally ashamed of this post. It diminishes them in the world's eyes. I want to make a couple of points about this. Australia is seeking an apology from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from the Chinese government for this outrageous post. We are also seeking its removal immediately and have also contacted Twitter to take it down immediately.
So, Stephen, what does it mean for the already troubled Australia-China relationship?
Well, PK, I feel like we sort of reel this out so often that it's starting to feel like a cliche, but it's true. The relationship really is now at new depths. Now, interestingly, last week we saw what looked like an attempt from the PM to proffer something of an olive branch to China. He basically pleaded with Beijing not to see its relationship with Australia through the prism of strategic competition with the United States, and also praised China's economic miracles, as he put it. So there was a definite shift in tone, if not in substance, from the Prime Minister last week. But then what happened immediately after that? Well, on Friday, of course, as we know, Beijing hit Australian wine imports with hefty tariffs. Those tariffs are likely to cripple several Australian producers. And now, not only did we have the criticism on Friday from the Chinese State Foreign Ministry, we now have this extremely provocative and insulting tweet on the Monday, a tweet that seems designed to really stoke anger here in Canberra. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting that this tweet was signed off on in any serious way by the Chinese leadership, but it's also true that there's no way it would have been posted without effectively the endorsement of the broad direction that they're taking by the Chinese leadership. They wouldn't have risked this were they not comfortable that this is exactly what they want the senior leadership to be doing. So the worrying thing for Australia here is that attitudes towards Australia in Beijing have clearly hardened. They may have even curdled into outright contempt. There's clearly a deliberate and concerted attempt to intimidate and coerce Australia. This tweet is part of that strategy. They have no interest in reaching rapprochement on the terms laid out by the Prime Minister, they are clearly after concrete concessions from Australia. And Australia's view, consistently, or at least the government's view, has been to do that would be a fatal mistake. It would be a sign of weakness and it would only invite further coercion and intimidation. And so that's why, in brief, we're in such a dire place at the moment with China, and there's no obvious escape route available.
No, Stephen, it's very difficult. Thanks for coming on. Foreign Affairs reporter Stephen Jedgetts there.